Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Alright guys, so today I'm going to do just a screen comparison of the new iPad versus the Asus Transformer Infinity. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because these are the two top resolutions of their own carriers. Asus with their 920 by 1200 ratio, which is above 1080p. And Apple with its 2040, it was something really high, ridiculously, that no one could see. But basically it's a really, really high resolution, and they say, you know, oh, it has like 1,000,000 more pixels than 1080p, which means absolutely nothing to any regular consumer. But basically what we're going to show is we're going to do 3 challenges, and that is text, we're going to do photos, and we're going to do video. Okay, so let's get right to it. For text, I thought it'd be proper to do a book. So let's go right to the book on it. And now I tried to do this so that they were both as small of a text where you can really see how much you get involved in it. Now, one thing I want to note is because of the aspect ratio on the Asus, you do get more inside the screen. You get more text, more words basically inside, so you won't have to flip the pages as much as comparing to the iPad. So you do get more, and that's just one thing. And these are both their own native apps. This is Google Books, and this is Apple's iBooks. So you do get more in the screen. However, when we actually look close into it, we can actually see a difference in the text. So that's the text for here, and I'm going to show the text for now the iPad, and now I'm going to try to put them both on the screen so you can kind of see without touching the power button on the iPad. Okay, so now the text is the text is pretty similar. Like I said, I tried to put the sizes right around the same as much as I could. Like if I would put +1, then the other one's too big, and then everything. So this is as close as I could get it to both being about the same size in terms of being small. And in terms of text, I want to say this is about even. I do like that the iPad has more of a white screen and compared to this one, which is more of a beige screen. And it's really interesting because it's only on books that I see it's more of a beige instead of a white. And now, just to make sure that I didn't change that, I just want to make sure I didn't change that color or anything like that. No, it's just the regular day one. Okay. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't like I did anything to make it that color or anything like that. And then, oh, actually I did do one thing though. I made the brightness, there you go. Actually, it's a little bit whiter now compared to what it was. But in terms of text, it really is close. I mean, if you guys see more of a fine text, I would say if anything goes to the iPad, it's really close. I like the fact that you get more words on one page, but I'm trying to be as kind of neutral as I can with this. But as you can see, both text is very fine. I mean, it's hard to tell between the two. Especially when reading further out, just even a little bit further out, you can read both really easily. So it's just one thing that I have noticed that it's very good for reading in terms of text, and that goes for web browsing, of course, and text. So now we're going to do some photos. So let's take a look at some photos, and let's pull that up. Okay. Now this is really interesting. The iPad definitely saturates better. Now saturation means color, basically. Now the only problem with that is though that they oversaturate. So while the colors look really cool, I'm going to go to this leaf right here. Okay, so you can see the leaf right here. Let me kind of show it to you guys. So this leaf right here is really green. The thing is, in actuality, in the picture, the leaf isn't that green. So can't really show it on the video, it looks like, but basically it's more of a this actually looks like nature, like how you would want it. If I took a photo with a DSLR, this is what I would want to see. I would not want to see that. So in terms of clarity, and accurate reproduction, it seems like the colors are going to favor the Asus in terms of being natural. Now they look a bit more vibrant, like I said, with the iPad. So if you want to go for more of a saturated vibrancy, that will be the best on here. However, what photographers look for is going to be this, and you can always oversaturate later. But the point is that you actually have the correct response. If I was filming with an SLR and Wi-Fi sending it through Wi-Fi to my devices, this is what I would know I can go home with, whereas this I would need to reshoot. So it's just very important for that reason. Now, in terms of, again, one thing I kind of notice is sometimes the colors are not only inaccurate, sometimes the colors are not over strong, but they actually make the photo look inaccurate. Over here, it's kind of hard to show again, but basically the buildings are a beige color. Now I've seen this on actually other screens to verify this, to see which one was correct. And over here they look like a gray kind of, basically it's just not capturing what the actual city is. It's kind of making its own color on the image. Now I wanted to take 1080p photos so we can actually see these side by side. And it just, in each of them, it's really kind of that the Asus is producing the correct response, basically, on each one. Now for this one, let's zoom in on both. So we can see the colors. Now this one's, of course, all about colors, and I'll zoom out a little bit more so we can see them side by side. Now, again, the problem that I'm seeing with the iPad in terms of color is the hue. Basically, the colors are just not what they actually are. Again, I've seen this in other screens to verify, to make sure that it was correct, and these are the accurate colors that it's supposed to be. So the problem that I see with the iPad is you never want to have it if you're a photographer, because you're going to get the wrong image that will not be true. So that's the big issue that I'm seeing in terms of photos with it. So now in terms of everyday usage, it might make you look better or something like that, so that's the kind of flattering part. But other than that, this one is just producing better colors, and you can always, use a filter with any kind of photo editing program, even Adobe Photoshop, to saturate it more if need be. But at least that way you have the correct photo. All right. And now we're going to do a video. So one basically right now, it's really going towards that, and then let's just see the video, which is in my entertainment on here. Okay, and now let's go back and play the video on here. Actually, I think I can do it still side by side. Try to. Okay, now that I lowered the volume, I can actually talk to you guys about what we're seeing. So one thing I'm noticing is that the videos really do seem to stand out more on terms of the Asus. You can see again color reproduction being an issue for the iPad, whereas this sees the actual colors, whereas this one's trying to over color it, like his sweater again is this actual color, but the iPad is making it look like an entirely different color. Again, even skin tones, that's his skin tone, but it's actually making him look even more white on this one. So it's kind of just an interesting thing that goes on with the iPad. But lastly, of course, the main Achilles heel to the iPad is it's not a 16:9 ratio. So in terms of watching 1080p videos, you cannot technically watch a full 1080p video on the iPad because you do not have the screen for it. It's not a 16:9 ratio. So no matter what, you cannot see a full 1080p video because you can either minimize it so that it's not actually taking up the screen, Or what you can do is make it look, for lack of a better word, retarded, because you have most of the screen cut off, because you zoomed into it to take up the full screen. So that's the problem with the iPad. And Apple is going away from this. They're kind of learning their lesson that a 4:3 ratio is foolish. And you can see that with their new iPhone, that they're going for 16:9 ratio now. So it really is just where everything is moving towards. Apple's, I'm sure the new, I guess it would be called the new iPad 2, will be it's going to probably be a 16:9 ratio, and that'll be the big change that happens. But yeah, so those are going to be the differences, guys, between the screens. So overall, I would give it to the Asus Infinity Pad. Text, I would say it was a little bit sharper on the iPad, but in terms of photos and videos, it's definitely going to go to the Asus. Alright guys, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Again, this has been RICKY, the Android Guy.